Hello everybody and welcome back to OMB Reviews. I am the critic who is a cynic. Hope you're doing well, and today we're doing a box office preview for this upcoming weekend, even though my voice is complete trash right now. Before going any further though, please make sure you smash that like button, lab that fire button if you're watching over on Odyssey, and also make sure that you are subscribed to the channel. That's right, River. Tell them. With that bell notification, that way you know every time a video or live stream goes live on the channel. So as I mentioned, my voice is trash today. We had a pep rally field day of sorts yesterday, so probably the reason why my voice is pretty much gone. But we'll go ahead and dive into it because we've got some new releases, including Don't Worry, Darling, which has gotten a lot of social media attention for the film, most of it actually seemingly negative, and yet it seems that the old adage of no type of publicity is bad publicity, because, hey, if you have someone talking about your movie, if you have someone talking about whatever it is, it means that there's eyeballs on it. It means that there's interest in it, even if it is a negative interest. Because Don't Worry, Darling is expected to own the box office this weekend, making $21.6 million, which is actually much higher than what it had originally been projected to make. And also, for the record, is higher than the $19 million that The Woman King had made just last weekend. That being said, Woman King is only expected to drop 39% from last weekend. And what that means is that that's a pretty strong hold from the previous weekend for a film that cost around $50 million to make. And it means that The Woman King is in a decent position to be able to make its money back. Yes, I know $125 million is a little bit further away than the $37.5 million that it will be projected to have totally domestically as of this coming weekend. But remember, this film has not yet been released, or we don't have a lot of numbers, at least, from any international countries, and so that is a major factor there. And also, if these kinds of drops and if these kinds of holds continue throughout the entirety of its release, then it could, over time, slowly and progressively, especially since there is nothing major coming out until about mid-October, that would be able to take a lot of attention away from films like this, or Don't Worry, Darling, or even films like Bullet Train, which is why Bullet Train is doing as well, I think, as it is, because there's just nothing really at the box office. I think all of those factors have to be taken into account to say and to suggest Woman King could still actually make its money back, because that is a pretty strong hold at 39% from a week 1 to week 2 number. Now, whether or not it continues those types of holds or not, it still remains to be seen. I still don't quite honestly understand how the film is doing as well as it is, especially since it's there's no shortage of videos out there that tell you why this film is a major problem, specifically since it's pushing a major political message while at the same time ignoring some key parts of history of the tribe of women that it is projecting. Remember that this tribe of women that they are projecting as being these heroes and these amazing women were the same women who went out and enslaved a lot of different tribes around them as they conquered them, sold those slaves into the Atlantic slave trade, and essentially invited the people that they are fighting in this movie because of all of those various activities. Not to mention all of the other atrocities that they have committed. If you don't believe me, go ahead and look up the history for yourself. Even the biased Wikipedia has articles about what this Dahomey nation, this Dahomey kingdom, did to its surrounding neighbors, and let's just say it was not very nice. But The Woman King is still projected, the numbers are what they are, having a very strong hold from first week to second week, and we'll have to, of course, wait and see what the projections are based upon its total, if it gets any international releases, things like that. I'll have some projections at the end of the weekend as far as what I think this film's going to make, but I will also be looking into to see how many countries this is going to be released in over the course of the next few months, and if that could potentially have an impact on its overall bottom line. We also have, unfortunately, in the top 3 spot this weekend projected, Avatar. That's right, Avatar's re-release. This is the original Avatar by James Cameron. Expected to make another $8.4 million at over 1,800 screens, which for a per theater ratio is pretty good by today's standards. And that just makes me sick, because Avatar is terrible, and the fact that there are still people who actually want to go see it make me very sad. And also, even though this is not as high as they had originally projected it to be, it does still show that there is genuine interest in this property, and that's why I suspect that when the film comes out, the sequel comes out in December, it will probably be a pretty massive hit, though I do not think it's going to hit anywhere close to that of the original, because I think a lot of people saw the original film out of pure curiosity about the spectacle of it, but ultimately this time around probably will hold back on spending their money on a film that's going to be featured in various premium formats. Because remember, the first Avatar film reigned in the era of the 3D era film, to such an excessive degree that it became downright annoying, and I imagine that Avatar 2 will try to do the same thing. I don't think as many people are going to buy into it this time around. We also have some more numbers here for Barbarian, expected to have only a 29% drop there, so another $4.6 million, so putting that film in a pretty good position box office-wise. Bullet Train also expected to have a pretty strong hold, a 26% drop from the previous week, right on the cusp of $100 million domestically, and as I've mentioned last week, right on the cusp of breaking even. So if it's making $1.9 million domestically, if it can make something as far as having a similar type of drop internationally, you could see this film get even closer to its break-even point, if not this weekend, then by next weekend. Again, having no competition has been a big help, not to mention the film is just downright fun. Now, one of the downsides for this movie is the fact that it's clearly being pulled out of screens, as it is only available in around 1,800 screens they project out of will be available this weekend. But regardless of that, it seems like the film is going to be doing still well enough to chug along and eventually make its money back, which of course makes me quite happy, as it's one of my favorite films of the year. See How They Run from Disney's Searchlight Pictures is expected to have a 40% drop from its previous week. So this is actually one of the only new releases that I have any interest in. It features a mystery of sorts. Saoirse Ronan is in the film, Sam Rockwell's in the movie, and so that's actually something that I have a genuine interest in because I like those actors. So seeing this film not have a terrible drop is good to see, but I still have to wait and see whether or not we can get an official budget on this film to be able to know whether or not this film is going to be in the break-even territory or not. DC League of Super Pets is also hanging around, and again, still at over 2,300 screens. And again, this type of drop is what it's going to need, but it's kind of running out of room at this point, as it still has quite a ways to go before it breaks even. Top Gun Maverick still hanging around as well. Just amazing that even after, almost 20 weeks of release in theaters, which is insane for a modern film, especially to have a 20-week release in theaters, and to still be making $1.6 million after that amount of time when it's available on video on demand and other places. That's just, again, insane to me that the movie is still doing well. Again, it makes sense to me because the film is fantastic, but still is also insane to me nonetheless. Pearl, which only cost about $1 million to make, is still making well over its budget, $1.5 million this weekend, bringing its total domestic to around $6 million. So hey, this goes to show you, if you spend almost nothing on a movie, guess what? You can still make your money back. That's a sign, I think, to Hollywood. Maybe you should start and rather stop wasting your money on giant over-bloated productions that people just don't ultimately care about in the end. And Minions Rise of Gru, even after about 17, 18 weeks of release, so almost as long as Maverick, but only about a few weeks, younger than that film, still expected to make around $1 million. This film is well over $900 million worldwide, and so again, kudos to them. However, I'm going to call Universal out as always because they continue to work with the Communist Party in China by allowing their films to play there, meaning that millions upon millions of dollars from Universal movies are going to support the Chinese Communist Party, which means that they're going to support human rights violations. Anyway, those are the movies of this weekend. What are y'all thoughts about this? Yes, my voice is trash. I know it, I get it, but do you think The Woman King's drop of only 39% is a sign that the film could actually end up making its money back? Also, what are your thoughts about Don't Worry, Darling? There's been a lot of controversy surrounding the film. There's been a lot of comments made by the filmmaker as well, which has gotten through the rounds. But hey, seems that it's gotten enough people's attention for people to want to actually go check this out for themselves. Whether or not that's going to result in the film making money is still anyone's guess, but $21.6 million in a dead market is a pretty strong number for a weekend. Also, The Woman King's 39%, as I mentioned, is a very strong hold, especially in the market that we're currently in right now. But what are y'all's thoughts about this and anything else I mentioned in the comment section down below? Let me know. And again, have a wonderful rest of your day. Everybody smash the like button, light the fire button on Odyssey, smash the rumble button. You guys are amazing and beautiful people. Hope you all will have a wonderful rest of your day. And as always, God bless. And now for a huge shout out for all of my September Patreon, Subscribe Star, and Locals members. Starting off with my Patreon members, Chris from the 80s, that's his YouTube channel, Garrett Searles, Hymir Irie Hymason, Jeff Toon, Jonathan Carney, Laura, the Modern Major General Story, Orange Eye Reviews, you can also find on YouTube by the same name, Rosetta Allen, YouTube's name is Eagle Rider, Stan Andrian, and Miss Martin Muses, and that is her YouTube channel. Thank y'all very much for supporting me over on Patreon. Also, for all my Subscribe Star peeps, Matt317, that's his Twitch channel name, support him there. Storm Tracker, The R, Fast Reaction, Mr. Roy, J-Rod, the Beer Guru, and the K-Man. Thank you, K-Man, as well, and you can find him at xtheboundaries.co, and thanks to all of my Subscribe Star members. And lastly, to my Locals members, Locals has definitely been hopping a lot more recently. Shout out to Miss Minnesota hockey fan, how about a hockey player, UAB Mad Dog, UAB Mad Dog, Mike Jackson for the win, Brett D90, and the amazing lawyer Robert Barnes. Thank y'all for supporting me over on Locals. And an extra special shout out to newer members, Joey Horn, who is back once again, and the Empress of the Universe, Tina B. And if you want your name shouted out vocally at the end of every single live stream and video, make sure that you support me over on Patreon, Subscribe Star, or Locals, and you can find out more information about it on those websites, and check out the top link in the video description below if you want to find out more about how to get that, access to podcasts that I do with John the Flickinger, and also how to be featured on the Chosen of Valhalla live stream, which I do once a month with my Chosen of Valhalla members, and it's always a lot of fun. Anyway, that's going to be it for me today. You guys all have an amazing rest of your day. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Beautiful people, and as always, God bless.